You guys have this week so far. Once again, here's an SCP Foundation video. We look at SCP-173. Apparently some more of a well-known SCP. This video is a little shorter. Coming down with kind of a bad cold right now, so want to just take a nap. but I know that I have to do a video for you guys. I thought this would be a good SCP to do since it looks really interesting. It looks like some statue-looking thing. So definitely excited for it. Just like any other SCP video, any other content creator I react to, they take a lot of time to take all this lore and make it to an easy to understand video. And like for Dr. Bob, he does a step further and makes animation. So definitely easy on them. So make sure you guys check them out. Original video will be in the description. Show them some love. If you guys enjoy my content, you guys enjoy my reactions, please remember to like and subscribe. Let's get to it.
3 Class D personnel approach the locked containment chamber. One of them is carrying a bucket and mop, but all 3 of them look jumpy and hesitant to move forward. An SCP Foundation guard walking behind them gives one of them a push forward with the barrel of his gun, and they continue stepping towards the cell door. All 3 of them nervously stare at the heavy locked metal door. Behind it, the sound of stone scraping against metal can be heard coming from inside.
Okay.
A second guard standing next to the door asks the 3 if they are ready. They don't answer, and the guard starts to laugh. They never are. The guard loudly announces that special containment procedures are beginning now. You know the rules. 2 maintain eye contact at all times while the other cleans.
Why
if you have to blink, do it 1 eye at a time, and announce before you close even 1 eye so everyone knows. The guard turns and starts to enter a code into the keypad next to the door. Each of the D classes take a couple hard, last blinks, taking the last opportunity they have to shut both of their eyes at the same time before they begin. With a loud hiss, the sealed chamber door unseals. "All right, eyes up," the guard commands. The door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit chamber. There are no furnishings.
What?
And much of the metal floor and walls are covered in a reddish-brown substance. And there in the corner is what they've heard stories and rumors about. The thing that has given them nightmares ever since they learned that they would have to enter its containment chamber, SCP-173. Or, as most of the staff in the SCP Foundation call it, the sculpture.
The sculpture.
It looks so unassuming in person. Just a crude concrete figure with a stupid-looking spray-painted face, standing motionless in the corner. The 3 D classes get another push from the guard behind them, and they enter the chamber. The 2 assigned to watch SCP-173 assume their position in the middle of the room, their eyes locked on the sculpture as the other starts cleaning the foul substance off the floor and walls. It smells terrible, like a mix of old blood and human waste. The 2 assigned to watch 173 pay no attention to the one cleaning, though. They follow protocol to a T, maintaining their vigil and announcing each time they are going to blink, even if it is only 1 eye. The third one continues cleaning, trying his best to keep his own eyes locked on the sculpture as he attempts to mop around it without getting too close. D5933 does his job and doesn't break eye contact with SCP-173. Even though it hasn't moved, he can feel the presence of the sculpture, something within it, just waiting for him to slip up, to let his eyes avert for just 1 split second. They say that's all it takes. You stop looking for even an instant, and it's all over. With all of the fear coursing through his veins, it is hard to maintain focus. All he can think about is how dry his eyes feel, and blinking them 1 at a time never seems to be enough. He wants so badly to shut his eyes, to end their itchy, dry feeling. But he can't. Even with another watcher, it's too risky. There's suddenly a loud crack. D5933
what's going on?
His eyes away
it scared the shit out of me.
He can see in his periphery that the other D-class dropped his broom and instinctively looked down at it. Luckily for him, there were others watching. D5933 shifts in place, taking a step back and bumps into something. He can't look at what it is, but he reaches behind him and feels that it's the other D-class watcher. But wait a minute, why is he facing the other way? "What are you doing? What's going on?" he asks, his eyes never leaving SCP-173. "What are you talking about?" the other D-class asks back. "You're facing the wrong way." "I'm facing the wrong way? You're facing the wrong way. We're supposed to be watching 173. What are you looking at?" "I am looking at 173. What are you looking at?" D5933 doesn't know what's going on and starts to panic. The one cleaning is focused on his task, trying as hard as he can to quickly mop up an especially dirty corner of the cell. It's the worst sound D5933 could have heard. "Achoo!" A sneeze, just inches behind his head, followed by the sound of bones being cracked, a scream that was cut off too short, and then a sick thud as a body dropped to the floor. D5933
What?
doesn't even have a chance to scream before a pair of concrete hands grab his neck and his own head is twisted around to see another identical-looking sculpture staring back at him.
Wait, so if you don't watch it, it kills you? It like just snaps your neck? What the Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the O5 Council, we have a problem. A senior researcher is giving a presentation to a group who remain largely in the shadows, obscuring both their identities as well as their reactions to his horrendous news. SCP-173, through means which we have not yet been able to determine, has multiplied. There's no reaction from any of the 13 figures seated around the large, curved table. The researcher in charge of SCP-173 waits for a response, anything at all. But after receiving none, he clears his throat and continues. We gave each of the new instances their own designation, SCP-173-1 and SCP-173-2. Two of the D-Class on observation duty during their regular cleaning of 173's cell were killed. The third was able to keep them both in his line of sight until they could be recontained and moved into separate cells. Again, no reaction from the shadows. But as you know, this wasn't the end of it. At some point, the instances of SCP-173 multiplied again, each splitting to form yet another instance. SCP-173-1 through 4 are all contained separately, but we don't know if or when another split will occur. The senior researcher waits, but no one on the O5 Council speaks or moves until the one seated in the very middle slides a piece of paper across the table in front of him. The senior researcher looks confused. He looks to the mobile task force guard stationed near the door, but he too remains expressionless, eyes locked straight ahead. The researcher, unsure of what else to do, steps away from the lectern and walks towards the table. He picks up the piece of paper and reads it. Object class, upgrade from Euclid to Keter. Orders, continue observation. The senior researcher nods in agreement, thanks the O5 Council for their time, and leaves the room. Lights flash and siren blare in the halls of Site-19. It's a containment breach. Facility staff, researchers, and site guards all run down the hall, screaming, trying desperately to get away. There's no hope for any of them, though. In a flash, SCP-173 instances appear behind them, snapping their necks and dropping them to the floor before moving on to their next victim. There must be dozens of them. Even as a guard tries to keep their eyes on one instance, preventing it from moving, another appears behind them. The staff of Site-19 flee for their lives, screaming for someone, anyone, to help them. The senior researcher presses pause on the video. The terrified face of the senior researcher who gave the last presentation is frozen on the screen. An instance of SCP-173 is directly behind them, its hands wrapped around his neck in the split second before his life was snuffed out. The new researcher giving the presentation looks considerably more frazzled than his predecessor. He explains to the O5 Council that following this horrific containment breach at Site-19, at least 61 instances of SCP...
61?! Oh my gosh.
SCP-173 are now unaccounted for. It is still unknown how they are replicating, but worryingly, there is evidence that the process may be speeding up. He presses play on a new clip from the security footage, which shows what appears to be multiple instances of 173 working in tandem, some using their bodies to block exits, others creating choke points in the facility corridors.
What the hell?
We have theorized that SCP-173, as we are now referring to the collective instances, may possess a form of hive intelligence. It also appears that this intelligence scales with the number of instances that are nearby. This allowed them to implement tactics that thwarted our containment efforts, as they used instances to block our containment teams from being able to pursue others. What you have in front of you is a proposal for revised special containment procedures. What I recommend may sound drastic, but it's what I truly believe is the only way to contain this threat. Each of the O5 Council members picks up the folder in front of them, bringing it into the shadows that obscure them. What I propose is that SCP-173 instances no longer be kept in containment cells, but instead placed inside of form-fitting metal containers. We can then use SCP-120 to transport the instances to the Foundation site on the lunar surface. The facility will have to be abandoned, of course. It's too risky to maintain a presence there, but each of the instances will be fitted with a tracking collar to ensure that we will be able to detect if any of them are somehow able to escape. The senior researcher waits. After a time, a paper is once again slid across the table. He approaches and picks it up. He sees that it is the same folder containing the revised Special Containment Procedures proposal. He opens it to find that it has been stamped, approved. Breaking news flashes across the screen. A worried-looking reporter appears as though she didn't have time to do her hair or makeup before rushing on air to deliver this special report. She explains that civilian deaths across North America are now estimated to be more than 500,000 people in the last 48 hours, as these still unidentified creatures continue their deadly rampage across the continents. It is unknown how many of them there may be, but the number of sightings has led some to estimate that there may be hundreds, if not thousands, or even tens of thousands of these living, neck-snapping sculptures. The reporter explains that rumors are circulating that the creature can be stopped by maintaining eye contact with it, but that this has yet to be confirmed. There is still no official word from the White House or from any members of Congress, and their current location and status are unknown, following reports that most of Washington, D.C. was overrun by the creatures earlier that day. The reporter suddenly stops speaking, and a terrified look comes over her face. Her eyes locked on something just off-screen. The camera pans over to show an instance of SCP-173 standing over a dead cameraman. There's a scream, and the camera goes back to the reporter, who now lies dead on her desk, her head twisted 180 degrees, before there's another sound of bones breaking, and the feed goes dead.
Oh my gosh.
A woman in an SCP researcher coat sits at a computer terminal in a secure bunker, a large, jeweled medallion around her neck. Personal log of Dr. Bright. From the little news I've been able to gather, it sounds like SCP-173 has besieged and destroyed 4 Foundation facilities pretty much simultaneously in the last 24 hours. Each instance shows the same strength as the original, and thousands of them working together are capable of ripping open concrete bunkers and compromising foot-thick steel doors.
Holy shit.
I alone have been killed 37 times in the last week. They can...
What? Wait, so does that make him immortal? Okay, I don't know about this Dr. Bright, so I guess I have to watch him next. Or does he like have clones? It's like the pandemic clones? He died 37 times, right? That's what he said?
Smell me, somehow, regardless of what body I'm in. The majority decision of the remaining O5s is that this is an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario unfolding.
Dude, my brain can't take this right now. So I'm seeing the sculpture, it's multiple that's killing everyone. And then some guy who can like change bodies or something, or cloned. There's so much happening.
And they're going to deal with the problem, or else the Russians are. They're evacuating this base, which means there won't be a single Foundation scientist anywhere in the New World. They say they're going to try to evacuate the surviving civilians, but I doubt it. There can't be more than a couple hundred people in all of North America anyway. I managed to make it down to a secure bunker, but who knows how long it will be until they're able to get in. I don't think there's any chance I can get out either. I'm running out of food, and I'm not sure which will get me first. Hunger, the sculptures, or what I know the O5s will inevitably do. Dr. Bright closes the computer terminal and sits back in her chair. She looks up at the ceiling of the bunker where the sound of concrete scratching against metal can be heard through the thick walls. A sullen and tired-looking researcher steps out of a room in the makeshift Foundation site that has been established just outside of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. He's holding a piece of paper and closes the door behind him, which has had O5 Council authorized entry only hastily painted on the outside. A small group of Foundation staff are waiting for him. They've gathered to hear what the overseers have decided to do in the face of this world-ending disaster. The researcher looks around at his colleagues' faces, and as they make eye contact, any hope they had is quickly replaced by the bad news they know is coming. He begins to read. Revised Special Containment Procedures. Containment Zone X1, formerly North and South America, is to be denied access. Following saturation nuclear bombing, the number of SCP-173 instances has been reduced. All available Foundation resources are to be redirected to monitoring the ocean to ensure the integrity of Containment Zone X1. Foundation adjuncts from national navies are to perform around-the-clock patrols and sonar sweeps. Detected instances are to be contained and removed to SCP-120 for transport to the lunar containment site. That's it? One of the staff members asks. That's it, the researcher replies. Several of those present begin to cry. There's nothing more they can do. Their homes, their friends, their families, all of them are gone. Killed either by the neck-wrenching sculptures or in the heat of a nuclear blast. Why? Why did they have to do it? One of the other staff, who appears to be a former site guard, asks. That's all we could do, another argues. There's much disagreement in the small crowd. No matter how they feel, though, this was the official order from the O5 Council. Their word is law, especially in a world where all law and order outside of the Foundation has broken down. There really was no other option. All they can do now is hope that the sacrifice of 2 whole continents was enough to keep it contained. that SCP-173 is unable to cross the ocean to Europe, and that they remain safe on this side of the planet. The group grows quiet, mourning the loss of the world they once knew, when the silence is suddenly interrupted by someone running down the hall. It's another researcher, carrying his own piece of paper. He tries to push past the group towards the O5 Council's door, insisting that they let him through, that he has important news that can't wait. "What is it?" demands the group. "We deserve to know." The group wrestles the paper away from the junior researcher, and it is passed through the group to the same man who read the revised special containment procedures. He quickly reads the report. It's just a couple of lines, and his face goes white.
Something they
"What is
crossed.
it? What does it say?" comes a question from the crowd. A message from the North Atlantic Navy General Command. Verified sighting of SCP-173 in the United Kingdom. Nuclear bombardment authorized and executed.
Oh my gosh.
No survivors. SCP-173 has come for them.
Wow. This is probably the most devastating SCP we probably have covered so far in this channel. I mean, they had to literally nuke 2 continents, and then after that they had to nuke everything else, because if one SCP survives, one SCP-173 survives, then it just remultiplies. Like, you're not fixing anything. So nuking themselves didn't even fix the problem. I mean, this is probably the most devastating SCP that we'll probably cover. I mean, I can't think of any ones that are probably worse than this. I mean, unless it's like a god tier 1, but I mean, this is literally just brung humanity to its knees. I mean, it killed 500,000 people in 48 hours. I mean, holy shit. That's crazy, dude. No, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, original video will be in the description. Make sure you guys check them out. If you guys enjoy my content, if you guys enjoy my reactions, please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.